Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Paul Dutch Speed Selling. This is Raging Verbalist number 308 for those who are keeping track. Hopefully you're keeping track. Like, subscribe, hit notifications if you want to be annoyed. We come up to you every week, Fridays, unless we have technical something or something crazy happens. Just wanted to give you a quick background. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. Facebook group is the Position to Win book, which of course is my way of getting in a little bit of a pitch for my book. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. Just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize that Position to Win. Let's dive into it. Let's get rolling on this thing. Okay, so it's all about getting ready for 2026. And it's never too early to start planning and start getting serious about your life and what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do. And I can tell you that this is, I think, going to be valuable for you. It's going to have real meat on the bones, not hype. I'm not going to tell you that you can do it easy or, cheap or free. I'm just going to tell you how to get it done. First and foremost is that we're 11 months down, and one to go in 2025. And in fact, we're a little beyond that one to go, but let's just say one to go. And that means that you've got to get yourself organized because, see, what happens in December is the fat man shows up, guy with a red suit and all of that, and people get consumed and they end up losing a bunch of time. And I have to tell you that the worst thing you can do is, of course, is squander time. So my question is really simple. It may be a little shocking, maybe a little provocative, may actually give you a little angst, which is, so how did you do in 2025? Did you achieve the goals that you set? Are things going well for you or not? If you watch the media, it depends on what media you watch. Either the world is coming to an end or the world is about ready to have a massive improvement. Chaos reigns, if you will, and everybody wonders, well, how are we going to make it through, day by day and look at the things that are going on. All I can tell you is that focus on what's important to yourself and always see where you want to go with these things. Now, being successful is not an accident. Being successful is something that you do on purpose. It's something that happens because you get up every day, you take right positive actions. Yes, you have to deal with life. Yes, you have to deal with all kinds of issues and problems and tragedies and everything. Remember, this is the year that, I totaled a car, not my fault. Broke my finger, not my fault. Having to deal with the consequences of that and having to learn how to redo things. Well, guess what? To sit there and wallow and spend some time with it, or go and get things done, which is what I'm all about, getting things done. And during that whole course, during all of that, I didn't sit around, convalesce, feel sorry for myself. I just went out and made stuff happen. So you have to think about, how do I make stuff happen? And winning, being successful is not like winning the lottery. Winning the lottery is pure, dumb mathematical luck, random event, if you will. Buckyball flying through the cosmos hits you and you win it. Great if you do, but that's not really a plan. That's kind of one of those amazing things that happens. So don't go planning on that. Now, you need to become time aware. Time aware means that you have to know how much time things take, what's going on, how you're going to keep track of your time, and all of those things. Part of looking at 2026 in totality before we're on top of it, because see, we have a lot of what I call, your face pressed against the glass, you're just, and I don't want you to do that. I want you to think in terms of, how do I plan my year and look at what's going to happen, and therefore become time aware of what's going to happen. And when I have people tell me, John, I've written out, lots and lots of goals, but I'm not achieving them. Well, usually it's one of focus, priority, and more importantly, real commitment to getting it done. And that's what we're going to talk about. So 2026 presents you with 365 opportunities to progress towards your goals. Every single day is that incremental unit. Every single hour is another part of how are you progressing towards your goals. Every minute, every second, every millisecond, all of it has to do is where you're going or not going. And I'm not saying that I haven't had interruptions in just about every way possible. Happens, but now what do you have to do? You have to make sure that you get this stuff done and not become victim to, if you've not heard of Parkinson's law, one of his laws was work expands to fill the time allotted. When I got up this morning, I was working on a presentation that had to get done and sent off to a business partner. Well, I got that done and then said, okay, got to get on with Raging Verbalist. Okay, got to get that, have a dental appointment, got to get that done. That's what life is all about, is getting things done. So how will you accomplish your goals? First off, do you have goals? Have you written them out? Do you know what they are? If they're not written down, if they're not clearly articulated, the likelihood of you achieving them in any meaningful way is, zippity doo dah, zippity a. It's not going to happen because, they're more of a wish. They're written in the stars, on the air. Hey, they're out there somewhere. No, no, no. You got to get them nailed down. Do that, and you'll get a much better chance of it. Now, the question is, but how do you actually do it? See, how I can sit there and tell you, go write some goals out, and I don't care how you do it. Okay, so we're going to talk about tools, digital tools, analog tools. All right, and I live in both worlds simultaneously. Now, some of you will just say, John, analog is so dead, it's so over. Oh, I don't want to do that. Great, I got it. However, I can tell you that there's some things that are really positive about it, things that are not. But let's talk about digital. So, what do you have as far as a calendar? How do you take notes? How do you do those types of things? I'm in the Apple ecosystem. You may be in Android eco land. You figure out how to do it. But I actually use a thing called Apple Notes. So, whenever I'm out somewhere and I need to go capture something, Apple Notes is great because it synchronizes automatically to my laptop and to the cloud. So I have this stuff and capture it. The worst thing in the world that you can do is not capture your ideas, not get things nailed down, not get things done. So on the digital side, I use those types of tools. I do not like digital calendars, though I use a Google Calendar, because the people who write them do not understand that I like fractional time. So I want to set an appointment for 7:01, not 7 a.m., because I want to make sure that you actually remember it. The airlines learned this decades ago. If they made everything on round numbers, people didn't remember when their flight is or when it would show up. Odd numbers or specific numbers are better than that. Okay, enough ranting and pissing and moaning about how digital stuff ain't where it should be. I should be able to decide how I want to do it. Got it. They gotta hit the mass audience, and that's what people do. Next thing is, let's talk about analog tools. I like a wall calendar, which shows me the entire year at a glance. I want to be aware of my life passing before me. I also have a desk calendar, which then allows me to look at the entire year. I use a monthly, and that really helps me out because when I sit down, when I'm planning 2026, I look at it and say, okay, what days do I have? See, people make the mistake of, in business in particular, saying, well, I've got 365 days. Well, start marking out the days that you don't have, and you'll find out that you don't have that. You have less time. Become time aware. Next thing that I like to do is figure out daily what I need to do and capture that, so that way I have a record of it. When did you go to the doctor and do whatever? Better to have that. I don't care how you do it, but figure out how to do that. Next step is really important. Spend time in planning sessions. Sit down and say, I'm going to plan things out. I'm going to make a conscious, purposeful effort to sit down and say, what do I want to do? And put it down. This is intimidating. People don't like to do it for two reasons, maybe three reasons, probably three reasons. The first one is that by actually writing it out or typing it out, it is a level of commitment. Now, oh, by the way, let me explain why analog is in some ways superior to digital. And you can always take the stuff and scan it and put it into the digital world. When you write it out, when your brain is sitting there watching your hand do magic. By the way, I broke my dominant hand, so I'm having to relearn how to write. But when you write it, there's something that goes on between your brain, your hand, your pen, and the paper. There's something that happens. Now, there are books written about this, but for sake of brevity, believe me that this is in fact true. Now, why don't people write them out? Well, because once you write them out, it seems a little bit more real than the fantasy you can live that, oh yeah, I've got goals, but I don't really adhere to them. Second thing that people don't want to do is that when they start writing them out, they find out how many they have or how few they have, and they become intimidated by that. Not good. The third reason why they don't want to write them out is, in fact, that they're concerned that if I write it out or say that, maybe it's not going to really happen. Bullshit, write it out. The next one is that you want to track your progress. Are you making progress towards these goals? Usually people, when I go through coaching sessions, consulting sessions, their goals are too broad and or too big to really be a goal. I want to get to, enough sales that it generates $10,000 a month in income, something like that. We got to break it down. We got to understand it from a very granular level. That's important, because if you can't do that, you'll have a very hard time hitting that. You'll have to then go back to buying lottery tickets. Next is to build focus. You have to build focus. Can you get better and better at focus time? This is harder than ever, given the fact that we have so many different ways to distract ourselves. And I don't care where you are age-wise, what you're doing, whether it's YouTube or TikTok or, whatever that happens to be that you're doing, Instagram, all of those things will knock you out of actually having focus. Focus is taking a timer, shutting all that stuff off, focusing on a task, and do that. Can you do that for any length of time? By the way, this ain't new. This is something that's been going on. A Chinese proverb has been for centuries. A man, or now we could say a woman, or whatever gender you want to be, if you can focus on a single task for 20 minutes, you can rule the kingdom. Meaning 2,500 years ago, they said, oh man, this is tough to do this focus thing. Not any easier, maybe even harder. Final pieces are use AI to, and I'm going to give you three things I want you to use AI for. Number one is get past roadblocks. If you have something that you're not able to solve, able to figure it out, start prompting whatever your favorite model is. I use ChatGPT and Perplexity. You can use whatever you want, and don't ask me which one I would recommend. I use what I can use, but plug it into, you have a roadblock, define and talk about that roadblock. When you're doing your focus planning session, say, oh man, I've got this roadblock. Write out what that is, shove it in there, see what the answer is. You're not looking for a one and done. You're looking for a way to get past that. Second thing is improve your skills. Every single day, every single day, every single day. Did I say it? Every single day, you should be improving your skills one way or another. Always, always, always be learning and improving your skills. Next is reduce the mundane. If you have mundane tasks that you hate doing, that you really don't want to do, no matter how minute that is, but it becomes this irritant, this becomes this grit, this stops the machine from working, get serious about breaking that down and using AI to reduce and eliminate that. AI is really good at doing really tiny things really well. People like to give it way too big a problem, and they end up failing. Final thoughts is you need to respect your time. If somebody doesn't respect your time, they don't respect you. If I set up something and people don't show up, if I have coaching clients who don't show up, I will fire them. Why? Because if they don't respect my time, they don't respect me. Next is that you need to cherish your time. It is your time. It is your life. It is everything that you're ever going to have. Time is it. And then remember and always say to yourself, put it down on a 3x5 card, on a Post-it note. Take a Sharpie and write it on the wall in your kitchen. Use lipstick and put it on your bathroom mirror. Time is your most precious resource. Time is your most precious resource. Time is your most precious resource. And with that, all I can say is I wish you a great 2026. If you want, go check out my book, Most Businesses Fail in the First 5 Minutes. 5 minutes, 300 seconds, and people make the wrong decision right up front. Go check it out. Go get it. PositionToWinBook.com, PositionToWinBook.com. And you can also get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or wherever books are sold. You can also get it digitally at Apple iBooks, Kindle, and Nook. And with that, I'm just going to say, go out there and make something happen today. Start planning to make sure that 2026 is different than what you've done in the past, and make it better than ever before. And with that, I'm Dr. John Paul Dr. Speed Selling, and we are out.